Here are 6 classic songs that ended up sounding very different from their demos. And let's start off strong with Comfortably Numb. It's a song steeped in emotional isolation and the process of coming back to consciousness. But the demo sounds worlds apart from the final version we all know.
There's nothing to live and nothing to die for. There is no future, no past to cry for.
When David Gilmour and Roger Waters first began making this track for their 1979 album The Wall, the song was split into 2 halves. Waters had written these haunting, introspective verses, reflecting the feeling of being numb and detached, and Gilmour had the chorus, the melody, that would eventually become so famous. But the demo was much simpler. Gilmour strums an acoustic guitar, his voice is soft and intimate, and Waters laid down the verse vocals, raw and direct. There was none of the big soundscapes, no epic guitar solos, just a bare-bones, folk-leaning song.
Put it on the line, put it to the test. I'm just the same as all the rest.
In parts, there's not even any lyrics. In fact, those legendary guitar solos that define Comfortably Numb weren't there at all at first. Gilmour developed those solos later in the studio, crafting them to convey the emotional conflict in the song. And producer Bob Ezrin deserves a massive nod here. When Pink Floyd came together to record the album, Ezrin pushed the band to exaggerate the contrast between the calm, almost hypnotic verses and those powerful choruses. So what started as a quiet, simple demo grew into the grand rock ballad that we know and love today. Next up, we've got Bohemian Rhapsody. Queen's original demos of Bohemian Rhapsody, known simply as Fred's Thing, or even the Cowboy Song, are surprisingly bare. It had none of the harmonies, no operatic madness, and definitely no Galileo. Freddie Mercury had the bones of it, the piano part, the melody, and that ballad section at the start. It was actually pieced together from scraps of half-finished bits and pieces from the past. He knew what he wanted, and he directed the band like a conductor. The rest of the band just had to ride the Freddie Mercury wave. Brian May later said that even during recording, Freddie would show up with notes written on random bits of paper with his ideas, saying things like, "And then something operatic will happen here." Amazingly, Freddie himself wrote the guitar bridge that gets everyone moving and doing air guitar near the end of the song. It wasn't Brian May. Early versions feature Mercury alone at the piano, with vague lyrical ideas, and none of the multi-part vocals that would come to define it. No massive guitar solos at this point, just a man, a piano, and the small germ of an idea.
1, 2, 3, 4.
If you listen closely, you can hear Freddie singing under his breath as he figures out the chords. I think he's playing it slightly differently too. And yet it took 3 weeks to record and layer all those vocals.
For me, for me.
Okay, how about Sympathy for the Devil, the Rolling Stones? This was originally a more folky style song. It was slow and acoustic and poetic. Early versions were just Mick Jagger strumming a guitar, singing in a quiet drawl about a man who's seen the world through history's darkest moments. One working title was The Devil Is My Name, which is very subtle, isn't it? It was sort of like beat poetry, thoughtful and low-key with none of the sinister flair that we now associate with the track. Mick Jagger has admitted he was heavily influenced by Bob Dylan's style at the time, and it really shows.
Killed the Tsar and his ministers while Anastasia screamed in vain.
And yet something about it wasn't quite working. Encouraged by producer Jimmy Miller, the band decided to play around with the song, trying a bunch of different versions. Keith Richards suggested they push the tempo and add more percussion. The band jammed on it for days, reshaping it almost in real time.
Please let me introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste.
And Keith Richards ended up playing the bass on this song, which is really unusual for him. And fun fact, the whole woo-woo part of the chorus was completely unplanned. Apparently producer Jimmy Miller asked Mick Jagger, "Who are you singing about, Mick? Who? And this caught the attention of Anita Pallenberg, who was there at the time. They suggested they all sing that over the chorus, and those words eventually changed to woo-woo. By the time the track was finished, it had basically undergone a total transformation. The lyrics were mainly intact, but the delivery was something completely different. And I'd say they nailed it. Now, Life on Mars, David Bowie. It began life as a stripped piano demo in 1971, which was later included in the Divine Symmetry box set.
It's a simple but small affair to the girl with the mousy hair.
And you can hear he sings slightly different lyrics there, which is interesting. He's still playing with his phrasing and his vocal delivery. And the piano is played a bit differently too to the final version. But the main difference is that the demo continues that way. It's just vocals and piano.
Look at those cavemen go. It's a freaky show. It's a
And fun fact, some stories claim that Mick Ronson wrote the string section of Life on Mars in the bathroom before running out to do the take. And then the telephone rang during the orchestral takes, causing Ronson to use some colourful language.
What? That's why.
Fucking bastard. Ah, for fuck's sake.
Now, have a listen to this. Yeah, if you thought the final version of Smells Like Teen Spirit was rough, well, have a go on that. It didn't start as the explosion of grunge that we know. It began as a really rough sketch by Kurt Cobain. Early versions had simpler lyrics and a raw sound. Butch Vig, the producer, played a huge role in shaping the song's punch. When Nirvana hit Sound City Studios in '91, Vig encouraged the band to tighten the arrangement and dial in that gritty mix between melody and noise. The production was massively cleaned up, as much as you can for Nirvana anyway. Dave Grohl's drumming and Chris Novoselic's bass gave it the driving backbone that it needed. And together they turned Cobain's sketch into a full-on anthem. And this one is a great example.
while my guitar gently weeps.
That is the sound of George Harrison in his home recording the first demo of While My Guitar Gently Weeps in 1968. It's known as the Isha demo, and it's just Harrison, his acoustic guitar and his voice. No drums, no bass, no electric guitar, no extras. The vocals are double-tracked, giving it a gentle, intimate feel. And it's so simple, isn't it? Raw, it's just full of emotion. It's beautiful.
Surely be learning, still my guitar gently weeps.
The lyrics differ slightly from the final cut as well. Then came the White Album recording sessions, and the band brought the song to life with drums, bass and keyboards. The subtle drums carry it really nicely, but the real game changer was Eric Clapton stepping in to play the lead electric guitar solo. And speaking of Eric Clapton, did you know he and George Harrison were in a bizarre love triangle with George Harrison's wife, Pattie Boyd? In fact, George, Eric, and others would write an insane amount of songs about her. She's one of rock music's greatest ever muses, and I've made a video listing every single song written about her. You're going to be surprised.